was unclear now is clear. Because the world, the universe, and truth are far bigger than the thoughts that you and I have accepted. It's not what you do, it's who you are. This moment right now is the single most important and beautiful moment of our life. Be in this moment, play in this moment, have this moment, live this moment. Want what's happening now. We begin to see that life is not so serious, that we're here to enjoy this experience of life through the tears, through the sadness, and through the fears. Every stream in life, every experience of life is leading me to the ocean of my existence. It's awesome stuff to live.
Oh, Buddha!
We don't need to do anything. There is no place else to be but where we are. Welcome to our second program in our series on the touch. In this particular program, we're going to look at our relationship with work. Please remember, everything is a spiritual relationship that we are involved in. You may not think of it that way, but it is. Work is definitely a spiritual relationship, but the relationship is the relationship we are having with our intimacy with life. This one's an easy one to miss because most people don't understand what their work is about. People go into their work for many different reasons. Some people go into it for gratification, to gain money and wealth and pride and prestige. Some people go into it to try to compensate for their bad childhood or the lack of feelings that they have within themselves, or to try to prove something to themselves. It is my sneaking suspicion that when we do that, well, we cut ourselves off from life, and we aren't intimate with life. We don't really think of our relationship with work, do we? We think about being good at our work, or being smart in our work, or being efficient in our work, or sometimes being cunning in our work, but we never think of it as our relationship with the intimacy of God, or life, or love, and that's exactly what it is. We see a lot of people in this day and age who are maybe, shall we say, very good at their work, but they have no relationship with it on a spiritual basis, so they live for gratification, they live for what they can get in their work. They live to be successful, and they get all the success and the money and the monetary stuff and the notoriety, and before you know it, they get sick or they have some terrible experience in their life through personal relationships. We've seen it all over the place. And then they lose everything that they have. And people wonder why. Well, my suspicion about it is that the reason this all happens is because we have no relationship with our life on a spiritual level. You know, being spiritual is not putting on beads or crystals and wearing shirts that say, I am spiritual. Spirituality is not like religion, where you boast about it or try to get other people to believe that you're spiritual. It's a quiet inner work. It's something you do in the privacy of your own being. I thought to do this very special kind of work on TV, and to denote what real relationship is on TV, we would come back to a place that I started my career in, Unity of Santa Barbara. I grew up here, I was ordained here, and this is where I gave my first Sunday lesson. That's what I called them in those days. And I thought it'd be interesting to come back and see where my work started, and to share with you some of the feelings I have about my intimacy with work and what I've learned through it. My work is not about survival. I hope yours isn't. It's taught me something about myself, how I relate to life, how I relate to love, and how I relate to myself. That's what being spiritual really is all about. It's nothing that you talk about. It's something that you and I live very quietly in the consciousness of our being. I have learned so much about myself through my work. You know, when I first began this opportunity of teaching, I thought that the most important thing in my work was to have large groups of people listening to me and everybody getting help from what it was I was going to offer. And I made it sound very noble, and it wasn't. It was only about gratifying my ego, gratifying what it was that was wounded inside of me. I was trying to compensate for what I didn't have in my life at that time, which was a sense of feel for who and what I was. So I tried to do it through my work, like so many people do. That's not being intimate with life. You can't compensate for what hurts you through your work. Probably one of the most interesting things about all of this is if we don't have a relationship with our work and we aren't intimate with it in the true way in which it could be, well, meaningful to us, we go on in our life seeking our work to bring us money and power and prestige. And these are the intoxicants that make our mind crazy and egotistical. Before you know it, your life is about what you can get and not who you are. In fact, we do something so dangerous. We start believing that what we get is who we are. And then our work becomes even more of an obsession. If we are practicing work as a spiritual technique, so to speak, then we are looking at it as a bond between ourselves and love. And if we are doing that, then what we are doing is a gift. And we are not thinking about what we get out of it. We are kind of feeling what is in it for our growth and our depth and our understanding. We're starting to acquire deep feelings that we never had before, which is about creativity. And creativity is the gift of intimacy from life to us. Behind these walls is where I started. I was much different than I am today. Not only younger, but much different. And boy, have things changed. What I believed in when I worked here is not what I've become. I've learned a lot about myself, and it's not how much I have or what I do that is as important in my work as my relationship with love. And what I now ask myself is, what is it do I feel in my work? Before, it's what could I have achieved? Now, it's what could I feel? And in that intimacy and in that feeling is a whole different world of life. Now I found what it means to add a spirituality to my living, a relationship with work. I think the big difference between those who are intimate with work and those who are not is the difference between people working to survive and working to live. And some people think they have to survive to live and live to survive, but I disagree with that. You either live to survive and have what it is that gratifies the ego and compensates for your insecurity, or you work because it's a gift and you have fashioned your work as a spiritual gift. It's the breath of your own spirit and your creativity. A lot of people don't work to find out who they are. They work to get what it is they want. And I don't think there is any poison that is more pungent than working to get what it is that you want. When I gave my first Sunday lesson, I believe is what I called them in those days, here in this auditorium, I tried to prepare and make everything just right because I wanted to survive. I wanted people to be impressed, and I wanted people to want me, and I wanted to be, quote, successful. And you know something? If you're prepared and you have all the stories in the right place, and you say all the right things, people might like you. And you might even become quasi-successful, but you won't have the gift that makes you intimate with the very spirit of life and what real work is all about. It's very interesting to me. There's an old story that I always loved about the young minister giving his first sermon, very similar to me. And he went up, he had all the stories in the right place and everything. He gave his quote sermon, and it bombed. Nobody liked it. He was humiliated when he came down. And he said to the senior minister, "What did I do wrong?" And he said to him, "Hey, if you had gone up the way you went down, you wouldn't have gone down the way you went up." There was no humility and love in his work. There was no gift. It was for impressing people. It was for survival and not for the intimacy of getting close to life through work. When we work, we are to work to be comfortable with life and to be intimate with it, to fashion life as the very breath of our own spirit, and to find creativity and compassion and gentleness in our work. And then everything will be added unto us. I like what Jesus said about that. He said, "Seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you." All we have to do is be intimate with love, and everything takes care of itself. To be intimate with life is to be intimate with our work. And if we are thinking about our compensation and what we're going to get out of our work, we're going into it for entirely the wrong reasons. When people are, quote, businesslike about their work, they lose the very affection that their work needs to bring about the gift and the creativity that work is supposed to offer to us. I know what I'm saying sounds very impractical and unbusinesslike, but maybe that's the problem with our society today. We're far too businesslike. We have far less play and creativity in our work. Gibran said that if we are going to be close to labor, we will be close to love, and I could not agree with him more. I really feel the depth of that spirituality. When I was here working in my beginning years, I was not very close to my labor. It was a compensation for what hurt inside of me, and I was trying to prove things to myself and maybe to other people. Now I'm a little wiser. There's nothing to prove. There's only everything to gain from working in my relationship with love. I really feel like when we put ourselves in a position of doing our work, we're really doing more than our work. It's not a job. It's really showing us what our relationship is with ourselves, and that is about what our motives are and our intent in our work. When I used to work here, my motive and intent were very interesting. I'd walk over to this very frightening podium here and grab on to it with all that I had, looking at my notes, trying to be precise and accurate to try to impress them. The truth of the matter is, in trying to impress them, I was trying to impress myself and make up for what wasn't going on inside of me, the lack of the relationship I wasn't having with life. Well, this never did well. I may have impressed them, but I didn't do much for myself, and I began to see what my motives were in my work, and they were very ugly. In those days, my motives were to try to compensate for the wounds that I was not healing within myself. Oh, I may have been accurate. I may have sometimes even been interesting, but I wasn't very loving. Now, the whole motivation has changed. I now realize that my work has nothing at all to do with what you think of me, or even if you get help out of what I'm doing. My work is most effective when I'm connected to my relationship with life and I'm being intimate with it. And then I'm sharing myself with you. And in sharing myself with you, I have the opportunity to touch you and to be touched by you. Now you and I have an intimacy. Something very special is going on. It's unspoken and it's real. And creativity starts to come out. And creativity is the big payoff for having an intimate relationship with our work. Spiritual relationships are very important. We are having them with many different elements in our life. And we must remember in our work, it is a spirituality that counts. Not our effectiveness, not our thoroughness, but our compassion and our love to do our work. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to be right back. Please don't go away. Of course, no discourse would be good for you unless I gave you some how-tos and offered to you some insight on how to do this kind of work. First of all, you got to understand something. This is a personal thing. Either you want to connect spiritually to your life or you don't. If you see no need in connecting to yourself and your life spiritually, then this won't mean anything to you. But if there's some kind of pull inside that says, I need to connect more with my life, then this might help you. First of all, work has to be something you love. And love has to be something you work. They have to be synonymous. If they're not, then you're not doing the right thing. Now, a lot of people love their work because of the gratification they get and the money they get and the stuff they get. And that's not what I'm talking about. Let me ask you a question. Would you do whatever it is you're doing for free? That's the key. And if you wouldn't, why wouldn't you? It must mean that it's not something you love doing. Most people love doing only what gets them what they want, and this is really where the bugaboo about work is. If I only do for you what I will get from you for doing it, I don't love you very much, and what I'm doing isn't helping me or you. And here's where you've got to come to some very basic concern about your life. Am I going through the motions of my life, only doing what I do to get what I want, or am I doing what I'm doing as an extension of my creativity, of my compassion, of my love for not only who I am, but what I am? This is a very important point. The damage we do to ourselves for not doing things out of love is immense. It makes us cynical, hard, cruel, cold, unforgiving, and insensitive. Now you got to ask yourself, do I want to go on with this? Is this the kind of lifestyle I want to go on with? Or do I want to go inside myself and do a little more work? I mean, really do some work. Sadly enough, most people give in to the allure of gratification and money. But if you won't, and if you're unwilling to do that anymore, then start taking a look. Is your work doing for you what you're doing for it? And is it doing for you what it should be doing, which is giving you a deep sense of yourself? Are you enriched by your work? Do you find a deeper sense of compassion? Do you find a creativity you've never known before? If so, you're on to something. If not, it's time to get back to our feelings and see what it is that we really need to do. Now, the difficulty with all of this is our desires come into play and our insecurities. Because if we do what we love, we're afraid we won't have enough money to do what we need to do to live. But that's bogus. Listen to me. If you follow your heart, your life will follow you. If you don't follow your heart and try to make life follow you, you'll fail. You've got to begin to trust inside of yourself what you love and follow it once in your life. And that translates into doing the things that give you a sense of aesthetic beauty, of creativity, because those are the things that really count. The other things don't matter. It really doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how poor you are. What matters is, are you doing yourself? Are you doing who you are? Van Gogh's a wonderful example of that. His art was magnificent, and yet it was never appreciated till later on, much past his death. This is the way it is sometimes with life. When we do what it is that we love, we're not looking for reward. We're looking for expression and creativity. You know, it's a funny thing. The last time I was in this room teaching, I was teaching Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And in that time, I was trying to prove myself to these people, and maybe even to myself. Now I'm trying not to prove myself, but to reveal myself, to share myself more. And what a difference that has made in my life. And I hope that's what it's about for you in your work and the effort of your relationship with your life. Don't try to prove things to life. Life doesn't want any proof from us. What could we prove to life and what could we prove to others? When you and I are trying to prove ourselves to life or to people, we're missing the opportunity of our creativity. When you're revealing yourself to life and to people, you're sharing what you are and who you are. And in sharing that, there is a creativity, a door opens up. You'd be surprised the opportunities that flow out of you. I really believe that sharing ourselves is the door of opportunity that allows love to flow between us and through us and around us, which makes our work not pleasurable, but fun and creative. Boy, how things have changed in my life from the last time I was in here. I was talking to people about what they should do, what they shouldn't do, what they could have, where they could go. Now I talk about who they are, what is, and not so much what they can have, but what's waiting for them on the inside. Real work connects me with what's going on inside of me, reveals me, shows me, and opens me up. And that's the most important part of our effort in work, because what it is it's connecting us with life and God. Don't look at your work as though it is some drudgery. Begin to understand it's a spiritual connection. Treat your work with respect, not with indifference, with love instead of hate. And you'll find that a connectedness exists within you that you never knew possible before. And life takes on a brand new experience and meaning. You know, the sad part about our culture is that it does not support in any way, shape, or form any kind of sense of spirituality. Ambition, pride, aggression, gratification are the big motives in this society of ours. So when I talk about being close to your labor as being close to love, most people don't get it. They look at work as some kind of laborious task, something that people do because they have to, and there's no love in that. Our work is how we are intimate with our life and how we stay close to being involved in life. It's about our care, about our compassion, and about helping. And if my work is not an extension of my care, my compassion, and my helping, if I look at it as though it is drudgery or some kind of sentence bestowed upon me by the gods, I'm going to be miserable. And I'm going to look at my work as though it's something I have to get through to go do what I want to do. What a sad way to live our life. Work should be fun, be something that means something to us personally, something that means something to us profoundly. Now there's a connectedness to our life. And we find that what we are doing to ourselves. My gift to you is a gift to myself. My sharing with you is a sharing with myself. I don't separate the giver from the gift and the gift from the giver. People toil too much. They do things so they don't have to do things. The whole idea of the work ethic in the American society is about trying to have a lot so we don't have to do anything. But I say, being close to life and being intimate with life through our work is one of the most beautiful things that we can ever do with our living. Don't look at your job or your work as though it's something you have to do. And if it is that to you, find something that you want to do. Find something that you're connected to. And if you can find that connectedness to your work, you have found what love is all about, and you have found the significance and the meaning of a spiritual connection to your life. Thank you for allowing me to share with you on Aspire the insights that I wanted to share about on work. Our work is a relationship with life, with God, and with truth. So look, find out what you need to do in your life. Find out who you are, what you feel, and then start expressing it. And before you know it, it will start taking you into places you never thought imaginable. Remember, if you follow love, then love will take your life into new dimensions. But if you try to make love follow you, you're going to find great futility. This activity of life that we call living is not based on what we want. It's based on who we are. Forget about what you want. Live who you are. It makes a world of difference. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to share with you. Namaste. This moment right now is the single most important and beautiful moment of our life. Be in this moment, play in this moment, have this moment, live this moment. Want what's happening now. We begin to see that life is not so serious, that we're here to enjoy this experience of life through the tears, through the sadness, and through the fears. Every stream in life, every experience of life is leading me to the ocean of my existence. It's awesome stuff to live.
Oh, Buddha!
We don't need to do anything. There is no place else to be but where we are.
To order a VHS copy of this program, please write to us or call 1-800-ASPIRE-2.